Simple and plain. To be the best, you have to win. That's why I play the game.
So LeBron James has a long history of being trash talked by the media, being counted out by the media, and being overlooked by the media. And this was no different in yesterday's ESPN poll, where media analysts voted on the best player in the league, and LeBron James received 0 votes. Like, are you absolutely kidding me? And then ultimately, Giannis and Kevin Durant tied for first place for the best player in the league. Like, that makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. And people tend to forget that before Solomon Hill dived at LeBron's ankles last season, LeBron James was clearly the MVP. And there's no doubt in my mind that if he was to stay healthy, he would have won it as well. And as I said, this isn't the first time that LeBron James has been overlooked. I mean, ever since he first came into the league, he was straight away compared to Michael Jordan and how great he was. This is a kid coming out of high school being compared to a player in Michael Jordan who was clearly the greatest player of all time. Which means everything that he did from this point on was always going to be compared to Michael Jordan, no matter what he did. And that's why what LeBron James has done throughout his whole entire career is so amazing, because no athlete on the history of this earth has had to deal with more pressure than LeBron James from the jump. And what he's been able to do with that pressure and how he's handled it is just truly incredible. And I'm not here to debate about whether Michael Jordan's better than LeBron James or LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan. I'll leave that up to you guys to discuss. But let's take it right back. So LeBron James was drafted number 1 overall by the Cleveland Cavaliers. An amazing story. He gets drafted by his hometown team. But in reality, the Cleveland Cavaliers are one of the worst run organizations in sporting history. Like, they just are. So, in my opinion, if LeBron James was never born in Akron, Ohio, I fail to see how the Cleveland Cavaliers even come close to winning an NBA championship. And LeBron would straight away be a star in this league. He'd go on to win Rookie of the Year and then 2 MVPs with that Cleveland Cavaliers team, and take that Cleveland Cavaliers team, a team full of pretty much nobodies in the league, to his first NBA Finals up against the San Antonio Spurs. And obviously they lost that series. So LeBron James then goes back and reassesses his situation at the Cleveland Cavaliers, and ultimately decides that, look, these guys aren't really surrounding me with players that can help me win an NBA championship. I'm having to do everything by myself pretty much. I'm going to go and team up with D Wade and C Bosh at Miami and really learn from these guys and learn how to win and learn to be the best player that I can be to ultimately win my first NBA championship. And my word, did the media get on him for that. I mean, the media just hated it. They hated a kid who saw an opportunity to win his first NBA championship and to learn how to be the best player he can be, because they were so afraid of how great LeBron James could be. And so he entered his first stages at Miami, and it turned out to be everything that everyone thought it would be. D Wade was ballin', LeBron was ballin', Chris Bosh was contributing in his own way. And then Miami would ultimately match up against Dallas in the NBA Finals and lose that series 4-2 after being the prohibitive favorites in that series. And geez, the media once again jumped on LeBron James. And by all rights, Miami, in reality, really should have won that series. But LeBron James is still in his learning phase. You know, at the start, he saw D Wade as the number 1 guy on that team. And it wasn't until D Wade came to the locker room and said, LeBron, it's your time. You're the best player on this team. Take over. This is your team now. And then ultimately LeBron would go on to win 2 MVPs and back-to-back championships for Miami Heat. And as they say, the rest is history. And LeBron was clearly the best player in the league at that time, but still the media ridiculed him and said that the only reason he won is because he's part of a super team. So the same people that were saying LeBron James is not good enough to win an NBA championship, after back-to-back championships, they're now on LeBron James saying that the only reason he won was because he's part of a super team, things aren't really adding up. And these are the same types of people who stopped LeBron from winning the first unanimous MVP in 2013 after one person voted for Carmelo Anthony when LeBron James was clearly the most dominant player in that season, and the Knicks sat like 12 games behind the Miami Heat. Like, it just doesn't make sense. And then in 2012, when LeBron was snubbed for the Defensive Player of the Year, where he was an absolute defensive beast that season and clearly the best defender in the league, although the NBA media and analysts voted for Marc Gasol to be the Defensive Player of the Year, who didn't even make the All-Defensive first team. He was on the second team, so how does a player on the All-NBA second team be named the NBA's Defensive Player of the Year? Like, sometimes I just sit back and think, what are the NBA analysts and NBA media even looking at, even doing? Like, why do they even have a job? And then in the 2015 NBA Finals, and this is the one that really gets me, in this finals series, the league gave Andre Iguodala Finals MVP, the guy who was guarding LeBron James, who averaged 35.8 points, 13.3 rebounds, and 9 assists. They gave the guy who was guarding a guy who scored 35 points a game Finals MVP. And LeBron James averaged more in each category in that final series. He averaged more points than anyone in that series, more rebounds than anyone in that series, and more assists than anyone in that series. Like, I know the league likes to give players on the winning team Finals MVP, but when you have such an historic series like that, and they give the guy who was actually guarding you Finals MVP, like, just come on now. And this is coming from someone who's one of the most honest and open NBA fans in the world. Like, if my favorite player's not performing and doesn't deserve these types of honors, then I'm going to be honest and say, yeah, he didn't deserve it that year. Or if the Lakers aren't playing their best and don't end up winning an NBA championship, I'm going to be honest and work out ways that I think that we can be better. But when things are so blatant, like the things that have happened in LeBron James's career, I really just got to sit back and question what the hell is going on. So why is the media so against LeBron James? Is it because they're so afraid that someone might be as great as Michael Jordan? Is it simply because they don't want to see LeBron James succeed? Or is it simply because they don't think he's good enough? Well, Laker fans, all I can say is strap yourselves in for another crazy, incredible season, aka Wash King Part 2, because I'm extremely confident that LeBron James is once again going to prove all the naysayers wrong and have an incredible season alongside Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis in the crew. But for now, it's been your boy Jay from Lakers Exclusive. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.